Alright, I don't know how to preface this video, so we're just gonna start right here with the questions. So, number one. So, I believe the role of an individual in society is to work towards a utopia, or a near perfect, if not perfect, society. So, now this comes with a caveat, however. People are basically, should strive only to the limits of their abilities. So, take for example, one of my favorite fictional characters, uh, Batman, right there. AKA Bruce Wayne. Now, Bruce Wayne, of course, is a billionaire philanthropist and has huge amount of resources and money from which he can act and then make Gotham City, his hometown, a better place. Now, with all this money, Bruce Wayne can not only fight crime as Batman, eliminating that aspect or that flaw within Gotham City, but also he can use that money to rebuild Gotham's decrepit infrastructure and clean up the streets, making it less gritty and grimy and more polished. Now, with that being said, you would expect somebody with Bruce Wayne's resources to, at the very least, make strides to do those things, to clean up the streets, to eliminate crime, etc., etc. But some homeless guy in the street or shouldn't be expected to do that because he or she doesn't have the resources to do so. So basically, in summary, the role of an individual in society is to work towards that utopia to the best of his or her ability. Now, let's go to question number 2. To what extent is an individual responsible for what happens in society, both great and small? Now, this, again, goes back into sort of the first question and my answer towards it, like the individual's ability. So, again, going back to Bruce Wayne, he would be responsible for a lot of it because he is basically entwined in society. He has a very large role. Whereas the homeless person that I used as an example in conjunction with Bruce Wayne is still responsible, but to a much lesser degree because he has less influence and less capabilities to work in society. Question 3. So the issues that I find in society that demand the greatest of attention include corruption and pollution. Now, corruption, of course, is very big because not only can it hinder progress, but it also may harm people. Take, for example, the big oil companies. Now, we all know that many of the politicians in America today are influenced, or at the very least, receive donations from big oil companies. Now, what this does is that these oil companies can influence the policies these politicians implement. So, if everybody is clamoring for, say, renewable resources like wind, solar, water, energy, and all that. But the oil companies will be harmed as a result because of a decrease in sales. Then the oil companies will tell these politicians to be like, don't pass this bill that will allow for more clean energy to be produced. Instead, block it so that we, your donors, will still get money. And so that's just one example of the harmful effects of corruption in today's society. Now, pollution, again, goes hand in hand with that, in that as we still use these bad resources, quote-unquote bad, we are killing the world in a sense. Now, take a look at global warming. If you don't believe in global warming, then I'm sorry, but you have to disprove it because it's been proven and has yet to be disproved by many, many scientists. So yeah, it's a real thing. So basically, yeah, if you don't know what that is, it's our climate. The average temperature of the Earth's climate has been rising for the past, I think, 200 years, ever since the Industrial Revolution, at an alarming rate. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna create this sort of chaotic climate around the world. Take a look at, I guess, here in California, our temperatures have been rising each year, especially during the summertime. it's like almost a lot of the time it's gonna be around 100 degrees when in the past I and I'm going off of anecdotal evidence here, so I may be wrong. I don't remember. I remember 100-degree weather days were far and few in between. Now, of course, I may be wrong there. So, but there are plenty of other examples around the world where the temperatures have been just changed so drastically from, say, previous records. And so that's a real big problem too that really needs to be addressed, or else um, our world will basically be changed forever and probably to a negative degree. Okay, so question 4. There are maybe a couple issues that everybody should address, ones that almost every person can actually look at and then address in an adequate way. Of course, there's the pollution one, just by picking up some trash or riding your bike to school or whatever, stuff like that. That's pretty easy and doesn't require like $1 million or like an advanced degree in astrophysics to do. But then there are others that, of course, require more of a speciality and fine-tuned skills to address. So yeah, there's pollution, and then there's there's pollution, and there's there's racism or just biases in general. That can be pretty much easily fixed, quote unquote. It doesn't require that much effort to sort of open your mind and not be, I don't know, discriminatory. Of course, it'll be hard and because people are firm-rooted in their beliefs a lot of the time, so it kind of sucks. So yeah, more of those like open, broad topics that really don't require a lot of stuff, or not stuff, requirements, I guess, to address. Now, the most important ones, like I mentioned, were pollution, racism, or discriminatory actions in general. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And, well, pollution, now towards the why question. Well, pollution, of course, will affect every single generation after ours and could potentially ruin the human race or itself. So that's a big one because that's sort of like long term. And then there's the all the discriminatory practices that people do every day. That's pretty bad too because it marginalizes people and it. All right, now towards the final question. There are issues that only some people can address. Now it goes back to that sort of abilities thing. Bruce Wayne, if I'm gonna mention him again, he's one of the few people that can really, say, rebuild a decrepit city like Gotham City. Or he can basically fund all that. He can promote that and start it. Now, regular people like you and me, we can't do that. As a group, maybe, but as individuals, it's really difficult and almost impossible. Just because we don't have the resources or the capabilities, stuff like that. So yeah, that's part A.